I'm going to give you a deep dive into how to take care of these beautiful plants, because I know during the fall, lots of people buy them at the big box stores and they don't come back, and even worse, they end up in the garbage. The way to keep your mums flourishing during the fall is to get rid of old blooms. If you get rid of these old blooms, you can make more room for the new ones to poke through. This encourages the blooms that are underneath, that are just on standby, that are waiting to bloom. You can see here are two of my mums that are in pots. This one is not looking so good. Now, I can tell you, I have watered this mum every day, and you can still see that it is starting to get dry. The soil is pretty moist, but again, mums don't like to be in pots. This mum was overwintered, meaning that I kept it in a pot and I placed it in an unheated garage. But you can tell it's still not doing good. You can see that it has dry leaves, but the buds are still good. The buds are blooming, but the leaves are suffering. And you can see this one was also overwintered. You see the buds have not burst. Now these buds have been like this for over a month. I don't know why. Usually I don't fertilize mums. If you over fertilize, then the flowers will fall off sooner. So I don't fertilize mums. Mums really don't need any type of fertilizing. They grow really fast on their own. But you can see again, this is in a pot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it in my garden. I'm going to place it in the ground because I'm going to try to give it a fighting chance. Again, mums really don't like to be in pots. If you do live in a warmer climate, mums are perennials for you. You can put it in the ground. Here in the Northeast, mums are not perennials. They can become perennials once you put them in the ground and they get used to the soil and the chilly temperatures. Before I place it in the ground, I'm going to do a little bit of TLC. I am going to remove all the dry leaves. Now that looks so much better. Yes, it is still a little sad, but I think it looks so much better than before. And if it has any twiggly sticks that are just sticking out, remove those also. So I have biotone and I have peat moss. You can see it's the roots are pretty good. It is a little bit of root bound. Biotone helps with root development, and we're just going to put sprinkle a little bit of biotone in the hole. We got our peat clay-like. Now we're ready to plant our mum. Just like that, pat down. And just make sure it's nice and compact in there. We don't want any air bubbles. We want to make sure it's nice and snug. When the weather gets a little colder, I will put a little bit of mulch. Now we're in my front yard and we are going to plant the other mum, getting rid of this root. We're going to plant the other mum, and you can see this one, the soil was very dry. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to also add some biotone in the hole and a little bit of peat moss. But this time what I'm going to do is add some water. I'm going to also put on my gloves because this is gonna be a little messy. See, it has some really good roots. I took it out of the pot, but it is dried. I'm going to remove all the dead leaves from it. If you have a plant like this, if your mum is starting to die, what you can do is prune it back, remove all the dead blooms and leaves, and then plant it in the ground. The best thing to do is once you do get your mum, and if you buy your mum, don't leave it in a pot. The best thing to do is to just plant it in the ground. That way you have a better chance of it coming back next season if you live in a cold zone like I do. I'm gonna put some soil underneath, like that. And it doesn't have to be that deep. I don't plant my mums too deep at all. And this branch is dead, so we'll get rid of that branch. Now we're gonna water again. Just make sure the roots are nicely saturated. This is my lone mum right here, and you can see it looks so much better than the one that was in the pot. There are no dry leaves. There's no damaged branches. And this is a mum that I planted last season, and I had put mulch around it. I rarely water this mum, and you can see it's ready. It's doing fine. It is turning a little because it is getting cooler, so it's turning a little bit of pink around, but overall the mum looks good compared to the ones in pots. So again, if you are struggling with mums, I struggled every fall, and that's the reason why I struggled. I finally figured it out because I kept them in pots, and lots of the mums were ending up in the garbage. So if you get a mum home, just plant it. If you want to enjoy it for maybe a day or two, that's great. But I would suggest you just plant it in the ground. No browning in the middle. None at all. All healthy and strong. Yes, it is very tiny. That's right. But again, this is a mum that survived the Northeast winter. And here in the Northeast, we get very cold temperatures. We get below zero. And this mum was fine. The mulch around it kept it nice and moist, nice and insulated during the winter time. In fact, guys, this is the same mum that I planted, I think, maybe 2 years ago, not even a year ago. And I did a similar video to this, explaining to lots of people why they should ditch the pot and put it in the ground. So this is the same mum, and you can see it's fine. So hopefully this mum, now that it's in the ground, it'll be doing much better than in a pot. If you do have a mum that is presently dying, don't throw it away. I would recommend is that you prune it and then put it in the ground, give it a little bit of fertilizer, water, put some mulch around it and see what happens. It's better than throwing it in the garbage. If you at least do that, the mum may come back. Now, this only works if you're in the cooler zones. If you're in a warmer zone, you don't have to worry. Why? Because mums are perennials. You can put it in the ground anytime and it'll come back. For us in the Northeast or in colder zones like 5, 6, and 7, mums act as annuals, meaning they bloom and then they die. The way to bring them back every year is to plant them, get them used to the ground, get them used to the cold temperatures. Mums don't like to be in pots. Their roots get too dry in pots, and that's when they die. Mums like to have moist roots in the ground. They can find the water in the ground. They can't find it that often in the pots, and most of the time that's what happens. The roots get too dry in pots and then they die. If you are still struggling with mums, just leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to help you, walk you through on how to plant your mums in the ground. I did speak to, when I was at one of the big box stores, this woman says, I never buy mums because I plant them in the ground and then they die. The trick is not to get mums in the summertime. Get them in the late fall or mid-fall. Don't get them in the summertime. I went to a big box store, and in August, the beginning of August, they were selling mums. If you get mums at that point, it's most likely not going to be it's not going to end up good. What I would recommend is that you get mums in season meaning mid-fall or directly in fall. Don't get mums at the end of the summer. Don't get mums in the beginning of the summer. Make sure that you get them during the fall. That way they will get used to the colder weather and they are in season during the fall. For you guys who really don't care whether your mum survives or not, that you just want them as a beautiful annuals to put on your patio or in your front yard, okay, you can avoid and not even listen to me in the first place. Then you can just throw it in the garbage. But if you want your mum to survive and you don't want to waste your money and you want them to come back, these are tips that I have done over and over again that have worked for me, and I'm sure it will work for you. I will be doing a video on how to care for mums if you decide to keep them in pots, how to take care of them during the winter months. Again, thank you so much for joining me here on my channel, The Determined Gardener. Don't forget to hit that sub button, that like button, and share this video with your family and friends. Until next time, guys, happy gardening. Keep on watching. See you later in the next video. Bye-bye.